started with Sarah Everard, her rape and murder 4 years ago. 4 years on, what's changed?
There have been a number of initiatives which have arisen since then, which are positive and which I'm delighted have happened. But while the police and Chief Constables accepted the recommendations made in full, sadly they haven't been implemented. And so, although there may be changes taking place, they're not the changes which I recommended and which they accepted in the public fora, and therefore it's really important that they get on with it.
Violence against women and girls is endemic, and it has been, if we're honest, for as long as we can remember.
Yes.
And there's something about Sarah Everard's story that shook us as a society. You felt it, I felt it, everyone watching felt it, that was a watershed moment for women and girls and them being better protected. I just want to understand how it feels to you that your recommendations from your first report have been implemented. Some of the recommendations today you have said aren't new, they've come from other reports into violence against women and girls.
Yes.
Yet they're not being seized upon still. How do you feel about that? Because I feel angry, if I'm
incredulous because they're not complex, they're not difficult, and I think it's in everyone's interest, including the forces in question, because it's going to improve their performance, it's going to make sure that these crimes are being detected and indeed there's a greater impetus to make those who are more likely to commit these offences hesitate if they can see that action being taken. And I therefore hope that the publication of this report will stir them on further.
We did have a response from the government today to your report in the House of Commons, and Jess Phillips stood up and talked about a £30 million investment in the National Centre for Violence Against Women and Girls and Public Protection, because your report did find inconsistencies across England and Wales on and how this was treated, how women were protected. But the government are yet to publish their strategy on violence against women and girls. You know, this was one of their manifesto pledges. We still haven't seen that strategy. How pressing is it that they get on with that and publish that? They say they don't want to do it until they can make it robust enough to fulfil that pledge of halving violence against women and girls. But how urgently do we need to see it and for it to be put into place?
Well, as soon as possible. And my own understanding was that it was going to be published very, very quickly. But that's not because I have information from the government. But I do hope that they do it. I certainly know that the Prime Minister, who was Director of Public Prosecutions at a time when I was the Lord Advocate or Attorney General of Scotland, similar to that, that he had a sincere interest in this area, and I very much hope that because of that experience, again, that he will ensure that the report is implemented so far as possible, and that their own report will add to the safety of women in public as well as men in public.
Your report talks about evidence and data as well, and so many of these inquiries and reports are based on evidence and data in order to inform meaningful recommendations. But you found that evidence and data for what you needed simply wasn't there. Basic questions didn't have answers. How many women are attacked or raped in public spaces? How much did that actually affect what was in your report?
Well, of course, it detracts from what's in the report if it's not clear what the volume is or what the occurrence rate is. And I think that's why there needs to be, it sounds very dull, there need to be statistics which can be used to help inform, again, intelligence as to where the areas are, where are things taking place, what particular areas are dangerous, and what is the extent of the problem as well.
Much of what is in your report isn't new to the women that will read it. It's their lived experience, it's their worst fears on paper. They're in black and white. What is it you want to say to those women? Because we've talked about the lack of action. We've never talked about this endemic of violence against women and girls more, but it's just not being backed up. What would your personal message be to them?
Don't be afraid to report. Assert your right to be heard and to stop these things happening, not just to you, but to the rest of the female community, the elderly community as well. And by doing that, you're participating as a member of your community to try and reduce the danger that there is for yourself in the future, for your children in the future, and for those who you love and care for. And it's not to put a pressure on people to do that. Many people just cannot bring themselves to report a sexual offence. But there is no blame there is no shame to be attached to being the victim of a sexual offence. Most of us have had some incident happen in our lifetime, and they should feel that when they are reported, that they're treated with the greatest of respect and with an effective response from those who have that responsibility.